Yo, what's happening? We back in 2024. You know what I'm saying? What's happening, bro?
Man, nothing much, man. Just starting a new year,
Yeah.
just trying to see where it goes, man, and just trying to plan out some things.
Hmm.
Trying to get better health wise, focus on some health stuff, and just also trying to take some new courses and
Hmm.
things like that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, man. Yeah, for me too, in this new year is most definitely health. Well, definitely health. I had a health scare,
Yeah.
a couple months back. So, um taking that long break, was important, to get my mind right.
Yeah.
To be consistent, go work out, eat healthy, eat more healthier and things of that nature, man. One thing I'm learning, man, as you get older, man, you ain't supposed to be eating all this all this meat, especially red meat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
body tell
No
you,
more chitlins and hog maws.
well, I don't know about that. Every once in a while, I'll give you some chicken. Every once in a while. And that's like it's like once in a blue moon, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
I get some hankering for some chitlins or some big feet or something like
Yeah.
that. You know what I'm saying? But just trying to just reduce it to just, simple chicken and rice and veggie and, fish or something like that, turkey and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Health, focusing on this platform, 'cause that's one thing that we're gonna talk about is a lot of misinformation out there. Um, oh, and of course, I submit for the African ancestry thing.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and we're also doing the ancestry thing on so, yeah,
Oh.
we gotta take this journey. I just got a new DNA hit,
Hmm.
from the 1800s.
Oh,
Um,
dang.
so yeah, yeah,
Oh,
they said
yeah.
it's a perfect match.
Oh, man. Yeah, you're gonna have to let me know, man. And I got
Yeah,
yeah, most definitely gotta compare trees, man, and see where we at, stuff like that.
yeah, yeah, man.
So,
Um,
yeah.
and back to what you were saying about the meat, the Food Administration just, deemed, hot dogs, carcinogens. Um, yeah, you know what I'm saying? And then, beef, they just, consider that a partial carcinogen.
Oh, wow. Mm.
Yeah, yeah, man, that's huge.
That's interesting stuff, man. Yeah, man.
Yeah, gotta be careful on
Be
what you're
careful.
consuming now.
Yeah, man. You gotta be careful. You gotta be careful when you're consuming, go out, exercise more, walk, whatever, go do something. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Exercise more, because these Republicans, they get control. They want people that work till they die.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's the plan, right?
Yeah.
Because that's where the wealth is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
At least for wealthy people.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I guess they weren't paying attention to all those older people that went back to work these last 3 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You know.
it's a reason why on the board calls that they were having in 2021 and 22
Mhm.
that they were literally caught talking to CEOs and board members, and the board members bragging about um, the uptick of elderly people, senior citizens, going back to work.
Mm, that's crazy because there are
Yeah,
states, of course, because there are states now that are, allowing, younger, basically, children to work. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
So they go try to force these new generation to work, you know, roll back child labor laws, you know what I mean?
mhm,
While also at the same time, not giving them, Medicare, closing hospitals, right? That's
yeah,
something that is mainly a Republican thing that's happening. You know what I'm saying? They're closing hospitals,
yeah,
for people, especially those folks who live in rural area. South Carolina is real bad. They're closing hospitals all over the place. Um, lowering your quality of life, um, you know, poisoning your environment, you know,
mhm, mhm.
and just
I,
try
I
to.
can't I can say they're building hospitals in my area,
Oh, okay.
but there's a but,
Yeah.
not in the rural towns.
Yeah, exactly. That's where you're seeing
So
them all
so
close.
if it's a densely populated area, they're getting new hospitals. So if
Mhm.
there's growth there, they're building hospitals, but what they're doing is closing down the other hospitals in the rural areas, which now you gotta take a 30-40 minute trip to get
Mm.
to the hospital.
Yep. Yeah, yeah, man. That's what they're doing, man. But yeah, man, as always, man, it's just appreciate the folks that's tuning in, gonna tune in, man. New year, same guys, a little bit more gray, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, did you see the Cat Williams Stephen A?
Man,
Cat
boy,
Williams?
Cat Williams, boy. Let me tell you something, man. Cat Williams, he used his whole entire clip on everybody.
Like, good lord. Shannon was just like, "Hey, brother, how you doing?" And another thing, and Cedric the Entertainer, that God dang, man. I don't think that I think Shannon was like, God, man. And I catch clips of Shannon and Ocho, man, because they are funny, man.
Oh,
Uh,
they funny together. They
man,
are funny.
Ocho is hilarious.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
but you know where I think Cat made his fatal mistake
Hmm.
going after uh Mike Epps.
Mm.
Boy, Mike Epps was lighting him on fire. You know that's what his thing is. He'll get the Jonesing on you, boy.
They just keep going, man. Like, oh
Yeah.
man,
I
oh man.
said, man, I can expect the response from Kevin Hart and stuff like that. Like
Mhm.
it was too corporate. You
Oh
know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah. They're not gonna mess up their money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they ain't gonna mess
Yeah,
their
yeah.
money up.
They're not gonna mess up their money,
But
man. They
Mike
just
Epps, Mike
no.
Epps was he had jokes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, man. Yeah, I thought that was a pretty interesting way to kick off the new year with
yeah.
Cat. And then recently Stephen A. and Jason Whitlock. Now I agree with the Jason Whitlock slander. Like, hey, slander that man all
Oh,
day.
I ain't even catch that one.
Yeah, man. I guess Whitlock says something about Stephen A. and his credentials and stuff like that. And then yeah, Stephen A. just went in on him, called him a fat bastard and how nobody likes him. And then and then on Twitter, it was just a whole bunch of people like, let me tell you about the time I worked with Jason Whitlock and going in on this dude, man. They were going in, man.
Well,
Uh
well, he was also fired. You know what I'm saying
yeah,
from his previous position,
from
with
every position.
from every position, and like nobody noticed. Like whenever he's doing a broadcast, he's not working with anybody.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And unless it's and I have to say this, a white conservative.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's the kind of person this guy is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, man. I mean, it is though because it's funny because Acho, Emmanuel Acho, Joy Taylor, and LaShawn McCoy do a show called Speak. Well,
Mhm,
it's the same exact show that Acho and Whitlock and Marcus Wiley was doing. It's the same show.
mhm,
And
mhm.
and, Whitlock, he just sucked at it. And so Acho was like, "Well, I'll just take it and I'll just go do it over here." And,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And but
Well, he also wasn't liked in bringing down because
Mhm.
he was saying stuff off. You know what I'm saying, off air,
Mm.
and it was bringing too much attention to Acho and
Yeah.
they were just like, yeah, yeah, nah, man, we can't have this guy.
Yeah, yeah, because he was always denigrating black people. I
Yeah,
mean, like putting black people down. And so, the only reason he's on the blaze is because, he begged somebody to get that job. As long as he denigrate black people, as long as he talk
yeah,
down on black people, a black person, he's always gonna have that job, man. His job isn't
yeah,
to interpret sports. It is to interpret black people
yeah,
for that white audience. That's really what it
yeah,
is. And he's not good at it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He wasn't good at talking about sports either.
Yeah, no, no, no. I was still mad at him about it, what he said about Donovan. When he said, Donovan was only good because he was a black quarterback.
Wow.
What?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
no, I'm sorry, because people were saying, I'm sorry, I messed that up. He was saying that Donovan was only good because people wasn't critiquing him because he was a black quarterback. So like people were afraid to, say that he sucked or something because he's black. So they're like, you know, like what?
What so what about Warren Moon? What
Man,
about, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what about those quarterbacks that came before him
yeah,
that were black, like, that got criticism, like, I don't know what you're saying right now, bro.
yeah. Nah, man, it pissed me off. I think it was like an article he was writing. He wrote a long time ago. Um, and yeah, man, I was like, that was my first time. I was like, who is this dude?
Yeah, they didn't consider Warren Moon a elite quarterback
Yeah,
when he was freaking going to the playoffs and putting up, like, top 5 passing yards.
yeah.
Like, oh, come on, bro.
Yeah, 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 man. When I read that article, I was like, "Who is this Jason Whitlock dude?" And I saw was that his big old black ass. I was like, "Oh no!" And then from there, I was like, "Ah, I see what type time he on."
Yeah.
He's always been on that anti-black stuff, man.
Gee.
Always, always, man. But yeah, man. One of those things that happened all over the break was the of course, federal. Sorry, that happened I think last week federal summer program from the federal government. And I had to say federal government. I don't want to say Biden administration because there's just way too much ignorance, people not understanding the difference.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, but anyway, so it's a program that's supposed to give 21 million, not 21 million, I think. That's going to states. States can use so that children can eat during the summer. So they have access to food you know. And of course, there are 15 states that are denying it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um,
go, go ahead. Hmm.
no, I was about to say, like, if your party is to a point where you're denying kids food, like, you really should really question yourself.
Yeah.
You should question yourself, man, because, like, that's the lowest that you can go is denying kids food.
Yeah. What was that dude named the governor of Mississippi said he didn't want no handouts. Won't Governor Tate Reeves of office says Mississippi won't participate in a federal summer food program for children because of his desire to reject attempts to expand the welfare state. Sir, sir, you are the governor of one of the poorest states in America.
Yeah, yeah, and
Well,
you're speaking on behalf of other people that need the assistance, like, in plain language,
yeah, yeah, man. And so
like, because you rich.
yeah, man, yeah. And so you denying it, because you you got money. I'm just not understanding. But again, we are at this point to where this is a great point to where you have a Republican governor, right? And so one of those things that we're going to talk about is what I'm saying how about civics and people not
Mhm.
understanding civics, right? So you have the federal government, which is ran, which is at three separate branches: executive, judicial, legislative, right? Legislative is the Congress, judicial is obviously the courts, and then the executive is the president, right?
Right.
And then you have governors. Governors are essentially presidents of their state.
Mhm.
Governors do not have to do if there's some federal money available to the states, governors can deny it. Or if there's a federal program that's available to the states, Obamacare was one of these programs that was available to the states, and there were governors that denied the money because they were supposed to set up their own Obamacare website, Obamacare
Mhm.
system, and there were states that just rejected the money. And there were states that took the money and they just used it in other factions, you know what I mean? Which is
Yeah.
strange because we just saw Obamacare just opened up for registration and it had the most people sign up for Obamacare.
Yeah,
20 million, I
21,000,000.
21 million.
21,000,000 in 1 week.
Yeah, 1 week.
Yep.
And I don't I find the coincidence of coming out of COVID not to be coincident. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, people realize like, oh crap, you know, I
Yeah.
need insurance. You know
Oh,
what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Yeah, shout out to Bill from the BX, man,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
the
yeah.
comment. Yeah, but yeah, look, this is one of the things where you can tell what kind of party you have, right?
Hmm.
Um, Again, we're going back to, like, if you were voting for a party, man, what I ain't even gonna say a party, right?
Hmm.
'Cause that's it's so you know what I'm saying? Like, it's so divided now when you say that, but even though it's true.
Hmm.
But when you're voting for some people that put out policy that take away food from people that need food, or take away access to healthcare
Hmm.
because, like, people need, like, they need to they don't wanna die,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Everybody's living, they don't wanna die, man, and then you're taking away women's right to choose whatever decision that them and their partner makes, or even themselves make in regards to their own health.
Hmm.
Like, if that's the party or people that you are voting for, man, like, you have to really step back as a human
Hmm.
and ask what kind of human you are.
Yeah.
Because
Nah.
now you're getting into just being, and I'm just gonna say it, like, for me, you just getting into a psychopathic behavior.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, man. It is. Yeah, man, and it always like fast. Again, the political talk is always about like there's a both sides. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and we keep saying it. There are no both sides, man. There just simply is not, man. And people who are participating in this thing saying that there's both sides, there is not, man. There's not. Out of the 50 states that can participate in this program, 35 states are participating in this program, some of which probably just don't, probably already have the economic means to, you know, help the families within the borders of their states, right?
Mhm,
You know what I'm saying? And then it's not a coincidence that, you're talking about 15 other states that are, some of them have some of the highest poverty levels within the states. I mean, you're talking Alabama, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina's on here. You know what I'm saying?
West
And
Virginia was on there.
yeah, they're not on here.
Oh,
And
they're not, okay.
nah, it's Alabama, Alaska, Florida, Georgia, Iowa, Louisiana, Nebraska, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Texas,
Mm,
Vermont, and Wyoming.
mm,
Um, and so, a number of those states got high poverty rates, man. And a number of those states got uh, uh, low what you call it rates when it comes to living. I can't remember. I can't remember the word I'm
uh,
thinking about right now.
the age?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Mortality rates. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm,
You know what I mean? And again, the Mississippi, what you call it, office, um, the the welfare agency. I'm sorry, man. I'm losing my train of thought. The
mm,
welfare agency there try to like cover for them, like, no, we already got a program. You know what I'm saying? But again,
mhm.
take that money and make that program stronger, better. You know
Right,
what I'm saying? Right. You know what
right.
I'm saying? Give, more access. Do something, man. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? To,
Whether it's posting up the website
mm,
or whatever to make
right.
it accessible, putting up freaking billboards to say,
Yeah.
"Hey, give us a call."
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. And this is again, like, again, the federal government wanted to create a child tax credit, right? This is one of Biden's things that he wanted to do. Child tax
Mhm,
credit and make it permanent. And of course,
mhm.
Christian Cinema and Joe Manchin torpedoed it, you know,
Yeah,
because again, uh, people need to understand, like, again, man, like you were saying, people get so wrapped up in the party and they do not understand that it's the end of that we are a representative government. You are voting for an individual that you hope work with the rest of, the party. Actually, just work within the confines of Congress, or work within Senate, or work within the House of Representative. But what has happened since that black man and his black wife got into the White House, um,
Mhm.
we have become a divided politically. So that means that the House of Representative has become divided. So if you do not put big enough numbers in the House of Representatives, you are not likely to get anything done. No bills, no nothing passed. You won't get anything done. If you do not put big enough numbers in the Senate, you don't get anything passed. When Obamacare got signed, that's because Democrats had a majority of 60. So that's how they got that done. So they can't get child tax credit done because they don't have 60 votes. You know what I mean? They barely have 51, you know what I mean, with Christian Cinema and Joe Manchin. You know what I'm saying? And so, people, we get so wrapped up in the party this and party that and party this. It's about the individuals and the representatives. You have to put um, the big enough numbers in place so that, you know what I mean, the government can function for the best, the quality of life of people. Right now, the government just ain't functioning because we're so focused on party, 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 and then we're creating rhetoric around. Oh man, the
Sleepy Joe.
yeah, yeah, Sleepy Joe,
Yeah,
they're the same thing, both
yeah,
parties are the same, and, you both bowls of shit and the lesser of two evils, and it's no, that's not what's happening right now.
yeah.
That's just not where we at, and people need to understand.
Well, you can look up the last 2 years since, the Republicans took over the House. Um, they have passed the least amount of bills since the 18 something. I can't remember the actual date, since the 1800s. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? Like, people don't understand, like, the civics to
mm,
understand what that actually mean for a country that is dealing with a modern world.
yeah,
When you have non-functional parts of government, when technology is expanding,
mm,
like, you will get left behind in those processes,
mm.
because those processes is what makes the country better and prosperous and so forth.
Yeah, yeah, man. Yeah, right now, right now, again, you had House members, House Republicans who ran on inflation, they ran
Mhm.
on bettering the economy, and they ran on helping the assisting the American people. They haven't done none of that.
Yes.
Zero. And there will be people who are sit here going to tell you both sides this and both sides that.
Hunter
Both
Biden.
yeah, yeah, of course, Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden this, Hunter Biden that, Hunter Biden this, Hunter Biden that. You know what I'm saying? And right now you got Democrats willing to get anything done, right? You couldn't get Bill Back Better done because of Joe Manchin and Christian Sentiment, and because you don't have the numbers, right? You know what
Mhm,
I'm saying? You just don't have the people. You don't have the people to put in these places, you know what I mean, in order to get something transformative like Build Back Better. Like you're saying, Build Back Better would have been a transformative, technological piece of legislation that would have created like a boon of jobs for people, man. But you had
mhm.
two idiots and two selfish people, you know what I mean, who again were the opposition, right? It's right now it's progress and opposition. Who's who is who is progressing and who is the
Mhm.
opposition? That's how folks have to
Yeah.
look at politics, man.
And
As,
again, since civics is a topic today, right?
mhm,
Like, it's not even just those two. You know what I'm saying? Because the two Republicans could have stepped up and sat back and was like, "Man, this makes more sense for my constituents." You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
Like, we're a poor rural town, and we could have had some things that could benefit us to expand our growth here in this town. No.
Yeah. Yeah, man, and that's what a lot of folks who are a lot of folks a lot of these individuals who didn't want the what was the Inflation Reduction Act, right? Which created a lot of, highways and things of that nature, you know what I'm saying? Well, they out here touting, "Oh, hey, look, this bridge about to get fixed and this about to get fixed and that's about to," like, yeah, right now, there's a German factory that's about to open where I'm at
Yeah,
because of the CHIPS Act,
yeah,
right? You know what I mean? So they about to hire Americans, you know what I mean, and make chips here, in South Carolina. You know
mhm,
what I'm saying? And there's gonna be a number of factories that's gonna come down here and do that.
yep,
But again, you can't get that done without real, federal legislation, you know what I'm saying? And so, it is it is yeah, yeah, yeah. Man, yeah. But anyway, like you're saying, it's a lack of civics. And
yeah,
and it is individuals who have these platforms like a Charlemagne the God and a lot of these black elitists, you know what I'm saying, who put out misinformation because a lot of times they're not speaking on the behalf of black people nationally. And
mhm,
they're most definitely not speaking on black people at a local level. And I always say the problem is that a lot of times when they're having these conversations about black community this and black people that, they're not talking about the black people where the majority of black people live, which is the South, right? A lot of their conversations is New York conversations or I'm sorry, Northeast conversations where there's not a lot of black people that live up there. California politics, you know what I mean? Again, not a lot of black people live over there. You know what I mean? Not a lot of black people live in the West. Not a lot of black people live in the Midwest. I think, well, maybe in like the Chicago area. You know what I mean? It's probably as close. But you got over 50% of black people that live in the South. So why isn't your conversation based on that? You know what I'm saying? A lot of times it's not. You know.
yeah, yeah, because if again, man, civics is the topic. If black people start to understand the power that black people have is in the South.
Hmm.
But the problem is they don't vote in the South.
Hmm.
Um, they they primarily vote higher in the Northeast and the Midwest state, and of course, a little bit of California, but it's not enough of us in California to
Right.
really move the needle.
Right.
Um, but in the South, it just they just don't show up to vote. But if again, we always stress if they show up in the South, I'm talking about everywhere from Virginia all the way to Texas. If they show up at 70%,
Mhm.
it will be some changes that happen in the South.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, but that's the problem. The problem with the individual like a Charlemagne the God or these other black elitists that you'll see on TV, you know what I'm saying? I can't remember the dude with the big old afro. Sometimes Joanne Reed, fall into this,
Mhm,
you know what I'm
mhm,
saying? Nina Turner will fall into this black elitism as well.
mhm,
So does Cornell West and other individuals. A lot of times when they are what they're not talking about is um black people mobilizing on a year to year basis. They never bring it up.
mhm,
Never bring up the fact of what you said. It's it's not about the Democrat Party, doing this or doing that. Is that there's not enough black people who live in the South who vote on a year to year basis at
mhm,
70% or higher in order to move the needle on politics or policies. So, because of that, if you live in the South, you are at the mercy of other groups and other individuals who are going to put themselves and their other constituents that vote at 60% or higher. They're going to
mhm.
put their interest above yours.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? And so that's what happens to politics. So you can't just simply blame the party. I blame the voter. You know what I'm
Mhm,
saying? What you sit here, you'll have all these people. You can go on any social media website, you go to any barbershop, beauty shop. you go any street corner, you go to any barbecue fraternal organization,
Mhm.
whatever, wherever black people gonna be, you have black people complaining. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then when you say, "Hey, man, we got to mobilize the vote at 70%." Oh man, this that. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
that. Well, your problems must not be that big then.
"Oh, man, don't try to scare me to the polls."
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Of course,
Yeah.
there's the scared to the polls thing. You know what I mean? You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And it's not about scaring folk to the polls. It's about understanding the future. We can't progress fast enough. We can't get there fast enough because we don't have enough people who are willing to run fast enough. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well,
So
they not willing to run fast enough, but look here, man. Again, when you hear a candidate that sit back and talk about internment camps.
oh man, yeah.
No, no, look, man, this is real, bro.
Mhm.
Like, you got a presidential candidate that literally is talking about opening internment camps.
Yeah,
Man, who you think that's gonna affect? Come on, bro.
yeah, man. Not just internment camps. That presidential candidate was talking about uh he was using Hitler terms or
Confirm it.
eugenics terms
Mhm.
in immigrants are spoiling the blood of the
Mhm.
country, and they used to use that term back when they were talking about most talking about some groups of white people, particularly those who they consider poor white trash,
Yeah.
and they were talking about brown skinned people. You know what I mean? Like, hey, we got to get rid of these brown skinned people and these poor white people so that they don't ruin the blood of the country. And
Mhm.
generally, blood of the country meant
As
uh,
if there's a as if there's a pure American.
yeah, to them there was a pure American. A pure American was a WASP. They were white
Mhm.
Anglo-Saxon Protestant. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? Which is why when John F. Kennedy runs for president, you know what I mean. He got said like, "Hey, man, I'm a good Catholic." You know what I'm saying? Because
Mhm.
Catholics were viewed in kind of the same way too. You know what I'm saying? Sort of. But anyway, but Hitler takes this eugenics language, and this is how he takes you the eugenics language as well as the what America is doing to African Americans and how they're oppressing African Americans. He takes both things, and that's how he begins to exterminate Jewish peoples and other groups of peoples as well. Um, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
he first started down in Africa, but, that's a whole
Yeah,
different.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, but it's the language, man. It's the language, and that's what people aren't paying attention to, you know what I'm saying? 'Cause, again, I had this conversation, and I'm like, "Man," again, when people are talking about both sides this and both sides, like, "Oh, man, I have to listen to both sides." What do you need to listen to Trump for? Like,
Yeah.
what is he going to say new that he didn't say in
Right.
2020 that you know what I'm saying? He's still calling immigrants derogatory names. He was the one I think he was the one talking about internment camps, right? He was the one?
He
Or
was.
yeah, he
Yep.
was the one talking about internment camps.
Yep.
I mean,
That was just a couple days ago.
yeah, like,
But yeah.
he's not saying anything new. What none of them are saying
Yeah.
anything new, from between 2008 and 2024. They're
Y
not. What
yeah,
what
listen to, Nikki Haley. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like,
I'm
she
s
she hasn't evolved. Like,
man,
she is still the person that if if things become tough for Nikki, um, that she will she will always bend towards, man, I don't wanna use the term like racist base, but
mhm.
like the
Bigots,
base
bigots.
of yeah, she will always kowtow to the bigots to a point where we had a show early last year, and I made the point, most moderates, whether they're Republican or Democrats, are the through line to the bigots,
Mhm.
because what they do is they make these choices of, like, if there's a bigot, they they won't they won't confront the bigot.
Right. They've
What
they've
they
they
do,
validate them.
they validate them,
Yeah.
or they make a soft excuse.
Mhm. Yeah.
And what it does is, when you don't kick the bigot out of the room and realize the bigot don't, like, he can't contribute to the conversation, because it's not about America.
Right,
It's not
exactly.
about the country as a whole. So
Right,
you can't talk to that person.
right.
And if it's truly about the country, then you got to remove him or remove them and then talk to people that want to benefit the country altogether.
Right.
But the moderate has a problem because, again, it's some bigots that they need them votes. They need them.
They need them. Yep. And guess who experienced this? John McCain. When
Yeah.
John McCain experienced this, right? The old lady, there's that famous video, of the old lady calling Obama the devil and calling him a Muslim terrorist and all this other stuff. And John McCain took the mic from her and said, "No, no, no. He's
Hmm.
not that. He's a good man." Blah blah blah. His numbers went bang, went down.
Yep.
They went down
Yep.
because you allowed the bigots want you to validate them because to
Mhm.
them because, a lot of the people don't wanna admit that a lot of the politics in America, particularly politics that are right-wing politics in America, people approach politics with a zero-sum mentality, meaning that they view politics that if you ask for something, then I lose something.
Mhm.
Right, and I think I talk about this often, this pie theory, they have this imaginary pie that, if they take from the pie, if other people take from the pie, if other people take from the pie, then they're gonna, there's no more pie left, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, no, there's plenty of pie. There's
Yeah.
plenty of pie to go around. You just gotta be willing to share it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But they have a zero sum mentality, and this zero sum mentality led to charter schools because they didn't want their white kids going to school with black kids. Private schools because they didn't want their white kids going to schools with black kids. This is what led to policing being the way that it is. Again, policing is about keeping a certain group away from another group. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Generally, what I mean? It's very rarely is it about some safety. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
But they just use it, for anything. But a lot of times, man, when we're talking about like folk like Charlemagne the God and black elitists, a lot of what happens is you have these individuals, these black individuals who put a black face on a lot of this moderate talk that
Mhm.
gives people a reason to say bigoted things, you know what I'm saying? It was like Chris Rock. When Chris Rock said this, it says he gives his joke. I don't, I love black people, but I hate niggas. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
That allowed the bigots to now, guess what? Well, Chris Rock said what I believe. I validate, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And so you know, um, you know, and so a lot of these like Charlemagne and these black elitists, they do the same thing for the left. Left's got some, they got some bigots over there too.
Mhm.
But what it does for black people is that it creates apathy. It creates voter apathy. And people and again, these millionaires who are not affected by government as much as the thousandaires, us thousandaires are affected by government, but they want to act, a lot of them want to act, like Charlemagne. Charlemagne's an idiot. You know what I'm saying? Well, when it comes to politics, right? He doesn't know what he's
Well,
talking about.
because he has to play down the intelligence, right?
Yeah.
Because the game, if you understand how any elite plays the game, is simply to protect wealth. And Charlemagne is in a position where he can misdirect his group because of the tax range that primarily listen to him is 3 times, 4 times less than him.
Hmm.
Most most people that are either successful or doing kind of well in their careers or so forth don't really know Charlemagne. They don't know he was a radio host because they never, you know what I'm saying? Because they don't really listen to the rap.
Hmm. Hmm.
And he has a fan base that, again, the importance of educating yourself about civics. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? Like that
Hmm.
that's not their thing. What they
Yeah.
want to hear is talking points. What they
Hmm.
want to hear is cool terms and
Hmm.
and and all of these different things, and you know, and the conspiracies.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I always tell the missus, I said, "Man, ah, man, I ain't for all of this black conspiracy bullshit." You know what I'm saying? Because this is a core problem,
Mhm.
and and I don't. It's not a cultural problem because whites have it. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
we all have it in our groups. Is how we go about it, right?
Mhm.
Because we are more affected by conspiracies or
Mhm.
misinformation than our counterparts.
Mhm.
Whether it's a Spanish person or what I mean, a Puerto Rican or whatever, because they can blend in.
Mhm.
And that's where we have a lot of problems with black elites, where again, they're black, but they have the money to be in certain spaces. So their thoughts fit the space that they're in. But the one thing that they can't change is their skin. So the moment that they buck against the narrative in the room to show any blackness,
Mhm.
that's when they get put out the room.
Yeah. Yeah, 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 man. And the other thing I don't like, man, of like you Charlemagne, you know what I mean? I generally don't like, I won't say I generally don't like, but people like Charlemagne who got a platform. Like, my issue is, these folks that are contrarians, right? Like, you're 40 plus. You
Mhm.
you have to have some knowledge on something, brother. Sister. You know what I'm saying? You have to have some knowledge on something. You can't think that being in the middle is somehow a powerful position. It's not a powerful position to be in. You have to have some conviction and stick with those convictions. And then when it comes to you not, and then being able to learn when you are wrong, right? Charlemagne, he doesn't want to learn when he's wrong. He just keeps going like he's right.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. This man the other day said, he wants to vote on or make the decision on the president that runs the country. The president does not run the country, fool.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's separation of power. You know what I mean? There's 3 different branches of federal government. And then
Mhm.
as state, there's 3 different branches of state government. And then you have your local government. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? Like, and he speaks in these terms like the federal government can go kick down the doors of the state and implement and do whatever, it wants to do. And that's just not true. You know what I'm saying? And these folks that are just like, well, what has the Democrats done? Hey, man, there's 60 years of data.
Yeah.
But here it is. And like I told some folks, at work, the problem is Americans are lazy, right? Everything is
Yeah.
being pushed to them, right? They get on social media platforms, everything is being pushed to them. Everything that they need to interact with, that they
Mhm.
need to see as entertainment is being pushed to them. The only time it doesn't get pushed to them is when they go search for porn and food. You dig?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? But it's pushed to them. And so these same individuals are waiting for somebody to tell them what Democrats have done for them for 60 years of their life. Like where have you been? Where have you been since 2008?
Yeah, yeah. So again, to 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 talk about what you're talking about, like, I think it's lazy and it's poor to have a message to sit back and say, um, and we have said it too, right?
Mhm,
Democrats' messaging is poor.
mhm,
You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, like, when you take the time out to really think about it, like, why do you have to message to me
right.
something that you have written down? Because it's written down, it's on the internet, it's on a government site. What you have done when s- when I just spent 30 hours in a week on Facebook.
Yeah.
You,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
No, for real. Yeah.
that is the thing when you really, man, and again, you have to get to a point as a human to learn to critique yourself.
Mhm.
And that was one of the critiques, like, when we were talking about it, um, a few shows ago, and I'm like, yeah, man, technically, like, really, is it really our responsibility to kind of find out what the hell these people doing?
Yeah. Because if not, if you waiting for them to tell you, they just gonna tell you whatever they want.
Yeah,
They just
and
tell you whatever they want, man. You
and that's
gotta
how we
go.
end up with the Republican Party. Look,
Yep.
like when there was no cameras on the floor, coming out, lying about stuff, and then going back in the room and
Mhm.
doing something totally different. That's
Yeah.
why that's why Trump can sit back and say, "Oh, well, I gave,
HBCUs,
2
all this money.
HBCUs $250 billion when you don't even know that was Rick Perry's, bill that he already passed."
Yeah, and also that I forget, a black, senator had to put the money back into the bill because
Yeah,
Trump
yeah,
took it out.
yeah, she stopped him and
Yeah,
sit back and say, "Hey, hey, hey, whoa, whoa. That
yeah,
that bill was already created,
yeah,
and you were just recreating it,
yeah,
and then you want to take money out at the same time that you were recreating it."
yeah. And then again, when we could get all these black elites, right? You get all these black elites to sit behind them. They take a photo picture, you know what I mean? And then go out there. Did you know Trump gave all this money to HBCUs? Oh man, context matters, man. Context matters to all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And and my thing is, why I kind of wanted to be on this topic is that those of us who are thousandaires, man, we have to get in a mindset. We have to get in this mindset where we're stop waiting for Malcolm or Martin to come through the door. You are Malcolm or Martin or Angela Davis. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Make these decisions on your own because these black elites, like Jay Watt said, they are making decisions for themselves, man. Which I just bought a great book called The Myth of Black Capitalism, and that's what it talks about. How the
Mm,
black elites they make decisions for themselves, and what they do is they basically message for the rest of us, right? While
mm,
they reap the most benefits, right? Because at the end of the day, an individual like Charlemagne, it doesn't matter if Republicans go in there and they kick down the door and they make life worse for the rest of us who are thousandaires. He's a millionaire. He has a
mhm,
radio station. People are still going to listen in, tune in. He's still going to get to show teeth on, his podcast. He's still going to get to go on CNN and do all of these things. He's still going to do all that things. Meanwhile, you know what I'm saying? Your child can't, can't learn about Black history in school. You get your spouse or your daughter gets pregnant. You can't have an abortion. If you do, a state like South Carolina, they want to pass a state like South Carolina who talks about they're pro-life, but yet they want to kill you if you decide to have an abortion, which is crazy.
mhm,
Which is
and also have the lowest amount of the OBGYNs in the country.
as they're closing hospitals, right? And as OBGYNs are leaving, states
Mhm,
and things of that nature. And again, as the Republicans are telling you that they are going to raise your Social Security age to 72,
mm,
having your children work till they die while at the same time not giving them health care, not doing all of these things. You know what I'm saying? For your children, man. Like I look, man. These black elites create. You know what I'm saying? These things for themselves. A lot of times, and so they give you misinformation, create voter apathy because at the end of the day, they
yeah,
benefit from it, and they don't want you to change because if you change, then you don't need them. You feel
yeah.
what I'm saying? You know.
Hey, man,
S
Dave Chappelle told a joke, man, where he was talking about, the tax bill don't help you, it helped me. I'm rich, you know what I'm saying? And like it,
Real
the
man.
joke hit for those who caught it,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. Mhm,
And people say it and they have repeated it, but they haven't caught on to what he was actually saying.
mhm,
You know what I'm saying? Like, man, he's gonna protect his wealth because he
mhm.
knows, man, if I go vote for a Republican, guess what? They're gonna give me the tax breaks. They're gonna give me, what I'm
Yep.
saying, all of this stuff. They just had passed a budget bill that
Mhm,
that Republicans crawled back $10 billion from the IRS. But guess what? They still got 70 billion. You know what
mhm,
I'm saying? Like at the same time, guess what? The program has only been in effect since the beginning of this year,
mhm.
and they already got back from people that are making $1,000,000, they got back $500,000,000.
Yeah, because that they have enough people to go after these people who have money to get all these to avoid paying taxes. And that's what has happened since the Bush tax cuts. There are people who have been avoiding paying taxes because when the Bush tax cuts are implemented, well, that was a cut to the
Mhm,
IRS. When it got
mhm.
re-implemented under Obama, again, the IRS get cut. And then when Trump's tax cut came, oh, that IRS was only going after the thousandaires.
Yeah,
But now they can go after the millionaires now.
yeah.
And some of y'all who still got them PPP loans, they still coming after
Oh,
y'all.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hey, they hunting them folks down in PPP. Ooh, wait, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, I be
and
like, man, please, man, if you got a
and now
PPP,
you have to, you
don't
gotta
know.
register your business now. Um, I forgot which site, that it's on, but you gotta register your business, and what they do is they're basically certifying if
Mm.
your business is, a fraudulent business
Oh, okay.
or you're taking foreign money.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
they cracking down, bro.
Mm.
They
That's
cracking
crazy.
down. And
That's
and and it's some people will cry about it, but at the end of the day, like, me and the missus was like, "Oh, we good. Like,
mhm.
we just gonna register, we good." Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we ain't trying to steal no money.
Yeah, hey, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That'd be like people that be worried about like the FBI or something spying on them. Like, I don't care what I ain't doing nothing.
Mm. Yeah, I don't know.
Don't be doing. I don't know, man. Don't be doing nothing. I don't know. I don't know, man. What do you use your Google for, man? What are you out here doing, man? Like, they just go see. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they don't care about your escorts that you ordering, man.
Yeah.
But we're talking about, like how there is a lack of civics. Again, thank you to Ronald Reagan. What Ronald Reagan did was Ronald Reagan defunded public schools or began the defunding the public schools. And with that, schools had to make choices about what curriculums they were teaching. They used to teach civics, in the 80s. And Dr. Umar talks about this a number of times. They used to teach civics, and they used to teach like trades outside of a technical school, you know what I'm saying, high school and stuff like that. But the funding was removed from public schools from the federal government in order to send money to states so to fund public schools. So and then a lot of the states couldn't fund their public schools. So once that happened, they started getting rid of civics. They got civics out, and you couldn't understand the government anymore. That was by choice because again, the Republican Party they win because of like Trump said, the uneducated
Mhm.
people. That's how they win, because people who don't understand how government works and that you are electing an individual, a representative. You are not electing a party. It's not like the parliament system over in Europe. You know what I'm saying? You are not voting for the party. You're voting for the individual. You know what I'm saying? And of course, this further happens with George Bush with his No Child Left Behind. What happened with George Bush with No Child Left Behind is that George Bush put quotas on where schools needed to be when it came to testing. And when those schools didn't meet the testing, they got their public funding pulled. And
Mhm.
so when public funding is pulled, well, what happens to that school? Well, that school closes. Well, what happens
Mhm.
to those kids? Well, those kids go to other schools. Well, what happens to the attendance? What happens to the size of the classrooms? They
Mhm.
get bigger. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what happened in the 2000 where, schools got bigger. Obama tried to correct that with his bill that he had, but the damage was already done
Yeah.
by that time. Yeah, damage was
My
already
high school going through that right now. Um,
done. Mhm.
we had a graduating class that was about 700 people.
Mm,
That was just my graduating class,
mhm.
and our school had almost 1,600
Yeah,
in the whole entire school, AI, and and now they have less than 550 students
man, that's
today.
cool. It's gonna close soon.
They don't even have a football team, let
Dang,
alone barely have a basketball team. They had girls playing on the boys' basketball team to make up the team.
at AI,
AI, bro.
man, AI had some good ball clubs back in the day.
Yeah, man, and,
Mm,
it's
crazy.
crazy, but, like,
It's funding.
it's funding.
It's funding, man.
Keep in mind that that school is in one of the richest areas
Mhm. Yeah, but
in
are those rich people contributing to that school?
no,
No, because guess where they
no.
sending their kids to?
Yeah, man,
I
Tatnall and all the private schools around there.
all the private schools.
Mhm.
And they're like, "Why I'm paying for this private school. I can't have my taxes going over."
And guess when that happened?
What's that?
So, when I went to high school, I was a part of I was the 1, 2 I think I was 1 or 2 classes behind the first choice group that got choiced out in the
Mm,
suburb.
wow.
Keep in mind, it was a predominantly white school,
Mhm,
before we got there,
mhm,
and they were, um, desegregating
mhm.
the school. That's what it was,
Yeah, yeah.
and,
Mhm.
like, I didn't realize it until I got older when I was like, "Damn, they
Oh,
still was desegregating our high school in the late
nice.
1990s."
That's what I
And
tell people all the time about segregation. Like, it was a while. Segregation was a long time. It lasted till the
bro,
90s. It lasted till the
like
90s.
yeah, like, man, this was a predominantly white school.
Mhm,
You know what I'm saying? You talking about you got $1,000,000 houses down the street.
mhm.
Ain't no school like that back there.
Yeah.
And so, like, so we had a chance to choice and like, man, shoot, I was like, man, shoot, I ain't going to no Howard because I know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? It was too many of us in there. And I'm like, yo, bro, I really ain't gonna get nothing done.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? You go to Dickinson, you know what I'm saying? Like you start like, no, no, bro. I
yeah,
hear I hear the stories. I
yeah,
don't I don't want no parts, man. So
uh
so that was a part of my choice of saying, you know what? Yeah, I wanna go so I can at least have some kind of opportunity. Like I know I was and it- I was doing some stuff, but
yeah,
at
yeah,
the end
yeah.
of the day, you know, you really had to think about that, man. This school was totally different even when you start looking in the yearbooks, and it's like, yo, it was, like, literally maybe 5 black people in here in the '80s.
Mhm.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, you going through the yearbooks, ain't too many black folk.
They were all going to Wilmington High.
Yeah,
Yeah, mainly Wilmington High in the '80s.
yeah. It ain't even
Or
no Wilmington High no more.
yeah, or when PS DuPont was open, right?
Yeah,
That was a high school.
yeah. With
Mhm.
Wilmington High, it turned to a charter school.
Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, all of it is funding. Again, a lot of people choosing to send their kids to private school, and again, there's if anybody was to look at the data says there's no difference between the education that these kids get at a private school and a funding and a public school.
Mhm.
It's just a myth that gets put out there, right? You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
they're like, "Oh man, this is a bad school," and generally, bad schools mean there's a lot of black kids that go there, black and
right,
brown kids go there, or
right.
uh, I won't say that, kids from a socioeconomic class that go
Mhm,
there, and that's really what it is because you do get a lot of, especially in Wilmington, you do get a lot of white kids who are wrapped in that same
mhm.
you know,
Hey,
area
man,
as
hey,
well.
man. Look,
Not no more,
I
but
I I know for a fact
mm.
when I got to my high school, I'd never seen kids do drugs. But I tell you what, the suburban kids,
Yeah, man.
boy, they know how to party. Goddamn, they know how to
Hey,
party.
that's how it was at Del Castle, man.
It's like,
Y'all do this stuff and then go
yeah,
home?
yeah, bro. Yeah,
Bro, y'all are
yeah,
doing this in school? This
yeah,
is
man.
crazy,
Like
man.
it was going down.
Crazy, man.
And again, man, um, again, this is something that we have to deal with to go back to what we were talking about today, the misinformation that we end up perpetuating
Yeah. Mm,
ourselves
yeah.
in our own group is we hear that oh, the black schools got this because it's amplified in the media or the news or so forth, and everything from the private schools is kept in the dark,
Yeah,
or the white schools are kept in the dark.
it is. Yeah,
But
it don't get reported, it don't
yeah,
get you know what I'm saying? The suspensions don't happen. Shoot, we got
yeah,
a school we got a school over here, and my daughters be telling me about this private school. They doing everything over there. Like, man,
yeah,
you
bro.
would like, if somebody was to just tell you about what's going on at this private school,
Mhm.
you would again, like you're saying, have that myth of, "Oh, man, this is a bad school." But
Yes.
because it is a private school and it is majority white school, you know, the people
Mhm.
like they just sweep it all under the rug and don't talk about it. Oh, but them
Mhm.
kids talk about it. I'll tell you that. They
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about it. They talked it out. They talked about it at the volleyball tournaments all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Girls missing from the oh yeah, nah, she go to such such school. She go to such such school and she doing drugs and and then all this other stuff. And yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
pregnancies happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
man.
cool. But like we're talking about, all of this, uh, um, this misinformation that happens, in the media, and because of policies that dumb down people. I won't say it dumbed down. It took away the knowledge so that people can know how to function out in society. You know, we did not get the same education folks got in the 50s and the 60s and some of them in the 70s where they learned about bank accounts and learned about, stock markets and learned about, I was telling them about, I was like, man, I think I was in the eighth grade and I was the last home ec class. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Over at Conrad. I was like, I think I
Mhm.
was. Yeah. I was like, folks weren't learning all these skills and things that they were just trying to teach kids so they can be functioning adults. Like there were adults who made policy decisions.
Mhm.
So that yeah, there was adults that made policy decisions because people who lack civic understanding, you know, uh, put these people in place simply because, "Oh, that person made me feel good," right? That's where
Yeah.
we at with politics today, right?
Yeah.
Politics is entertainment. Politics is the WWE. Politics
Yes.
is the Emmys, is the Oscars.
Mhm.
It's a rap concert. It's a rock and roll concert. It's a Taylor Swift concert. It is, you know what I mean? It's entertainment, and it should not be
Yeah.
entertainment because people are making quality of life decisions
Yeah.
for you and for how you live, and more importantly, your children. Like I never seen so many like selfish people just making decisions for today,
Mhm.
not tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's our lack of civics. And it
Yeah.
does hurt black progress. It does. Because again, we're waiting for Malcolm or Martin. you
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? There's just a group of people who just waiting for somebody to tell them where to go and what to do. And it's like your life should tell you that.
Yeah.
Yeah, your life should tell you that. People like, oh man, listening to Vivek and not understanding Vivek is part of is the opposition. There's
Yeah.
nothing this man is saying that would benefit, you know what I mean, black progress or even economic progress for a majority of people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, because we're in an interesting position, right? Because, like, in our everyday life, most black people everyday black people that don't get talked about are going to work, they taking care of their family, you know what I'm saying? Like, they are trying to live the quote, unquote, "the capitalist dream."
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that right there is a typical black person. But the problem is we run into policies, whether they are banking policies, whether they are um, local policies or policing policies. Like you go down the line, health policies. You go down the line, we run into roadblocks
Yeah,
that we that either slow us down or make us step back.
yeah,
You know, and sometimes it makes us also kinda give up the fight.
yeah,
Just stay in the middle.
yeah,
And these are the dynamics that we have to understand that regardless that there's a roadblock, right? That if there's any person that can speak from that, I feel like I could be the person, right? Because
Mhm,
struggle with reading. Like,
mhm.
you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not supposed to be here, bro.
Right, 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 right.
Man, I keep like I look at myself like, yo, you are not supposed to be here, bro. You know what I'm saying? And like the stuff that I fell into in my 20s and so forth. It's like, yeah, man. How did you end up surpassing everybody that you know?
Mhm.
It's because I ain't never give up, bro.
Yeah.
I ain't never give up. And every time I seen an opportunity or I thought there was an opportunity, I took it.
Mhm.
I took it regardless of the failure.
Yeah.
And regardless, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, I was slapped in the face by a white guy
Mm.
on the job and called the N word, right? On the job. Black people lives are just that. And I
Mhm.
had to make a decision and
Decision
sit
right
back and
then.
like, man, like if he know me, man, I'll scuffle with him. Like,
Yeah.
cause that's what I was into. But I had to think about myself economically, like how I'm gonna get around this.
Mhm.
How I'm gonna get around this to survive.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that's literally what how we live as a culture through the white supremacy, through the misinformation, through like, you know what I'm saying, the lack of teaching of how to participate with your civic duty. Like that is the American black, typical life for the most part for a lot of black people.
Yeah. Yeah, 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 and a lot of that gets passed into how, folks make their civic decisions, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm,
So, like you're saying, people fall out, some people, don't participate, other people like, "Oh, man, well, I have a if you can't, beat them, join 'em mentality," you know what I mean? And then
mhm,
there's the other folks who are like, "Nah, man, we can have something better.
mhm,
We can build a country, a democracy that has us included in it." You feel what I'm saying? And that's the progress part, you know what I mean? And like you're saying, there are black people who can't see the progress because
mhm,
they're in a survival mode, right? You know, but we haven't transitioned to be in survival mode when it comes to politics, right?
yeah,
Or power building. I'm sorry,
mhm,
building power, right? Because I always say we transition from protests to politics. We never transition from politics to power. And
mhm,
so, we have to understand in order to gain the power, you know what I mean? You have to know how civics work. You have to know how the government works. You have to know how things go to committee. You have to know how many senators you need in order to ensure you get bills passed. You have to know how many House members you need. Who's voting in the House. Don't get so caught up in labels. You know what I'm saying? Like, people are just like, I had a conversation where somebody was like, "Oh, you vote blue no matter who." I'm like, I don't vote for the opposition. I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like,
mhm, mhm,
I was like, it's not me voting blue for no matter who. Is That's the only position that I'm put in.
yeah,
Because the opposition is just that. The opposition is so entrenched that I have no choice. I'm not given any other option. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? And going, I don't have a Green Party candidate here running for a Senate seat or running for a House seat. You know what I mean? And it doesn't make sense to vote for a Green Party candidate for the presidency because the Green Party is not on all the ballots in the states. You have to know things like that, right? Like,
mhm, mhm,
are the parties that you're voting for on all the ballots in the states? Because that matters. Because we vote because in order to get the presidency, you need something that's been with us since slavery.
mhm,
Uh, the what's the thing called? You need the oh my gosh, the electoral college.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You need the electoral college. So if you don't have representatives on each ballot in each state, well, you don't get the electoral votes.
yeah,
So it makes no sense.
yeah. It's
Cough,
essentially like sitting home.
of Cornell West.
Yeah,
It makes no sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Essentially, that's what you're doing. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And I seen Mark Lamont Hill like, man, I vote, Green Party. That's fine if you're voting for a Green Party candidate, if you're a Green Party candidate in your state. I mean, it doesn't
Mhm.
make sense for the presidency when
Yeah.
that presidency has to assign on and agree to judges, as we learned,
Mhm. Mhm.
putting people in places like a Marsha for HUD
Mhm.
or these other Pete Buttigieg over transportation. You know what I mean? Who's talking about how white supremacist policies created the highway system and pushed black people out of homes and out of wealth and things of that nature and transforming that all that stuff matters because if you put a Ben Carson in there who don't know how HUD works, but yet he's buying $10,000, $30,000 worth of furniture
Mhm.
and he's making the program worse. Well, how that affects people on a state level.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And so you have to know these things, man. And people in general just stop after waiting for somebody to come push it to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We don't mind doing this because we like it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We enjoy it. But at the same time, there are way too many folks who are just waiting for somebody to come push information to you. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Yeah.
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 Yeah. They'll be listening to Lil Boosie.
Oh man, they'll listen to Lil Boosie, they'll listen to, Lil Boosie say something about civics. Oh man, they'll listen to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beyonce Beyonce say something, they'll listen to it. Taylor
Yeah.
Swift, they'll listen to it. You know what I mean? But JY and Tay, I don't know about them 2.
Yeah, 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 man. But man, it's sad, but it's true because at the end of the day, it's like, man, we really be trying to take our time to
Mhm.
like look at look at things,
Right.
read some of the information. We don't know it all. We don't even claim to even know it all.
Yeah.
But what we claim is we at least trying to find the information, be accepting of real information, facts, and things of those nature, not conspiracies.
That's a key point there.
Yeah, and understand the civics behind it.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because at the end of the day, like you brought up with Cornell West, man. Look, would he be a decent candidate?
Mhm.
Yeah, he'd be a decent candidate. But
Mm.
again, the politics is he chose to run under the Green Party, who has n- never
Yeah.
presented a viable candidate for presidency.
Yeah.
Y- and again, the problem is again, what's going to come about in that civic is the down ballot.
Yeah. It's down ballot. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So because he's not on every single ticket, how you going to sit back and vote for the rest of the down ballot?
It doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
you because there's no more green parties nowhere
Right.
down the rest of the ballot.
Right. Right, man. Like it only makes sense to run Green Party as a Senate state
Yes.
seat or
Yes.
run for a federal House seat.
That's where he should have ran in the first place.
Yes, that's where he should have ran, man. But
But
again,
guess what?
that's not what it's
Cornel
about.
West, again, we're getting back to the black elites.
Black elites, man.
Again,
Elites.
he wants the power.
Exactly. Exactly.
I like Cornel West, but I ain't stupid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, look, bro,
No,
like
for
once
real.
I sat back and sussed it out, I'm like, man, he just want the goddamn power.
That's it. That's all he wants, man. That's all he wants. He ain't got enough money. He
No.
ain't got enough money. He's not gonna get enough votes. But at the end of the day, he'll get the adulation, he'll get the shows, you
Yep.
know, he'll write a book, maybe, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? How does that help? How does any of that help? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, 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 man. How does any of that help in 2024? Where were you looking at a political party that is probably, is looking at the long game, right? They're looking at, again, Project 2025.
Mhm.
We probably need to do a show in 2025 because I don't think people understand that Republicans are looking at 2025, this Project 2025, basically having like Republican right wing, control on a federal and state
Mhm.
level for like
Mhm.
years. years, man.
And
And oof,
and it already started through the judgeship.
yeah,
If you
yeah,
watch what these judges are ruling in some of these cases, keep in mind as the bar association and the watch groups for the bar association are looking like, yeah, this judge sound like they shouldn't even be on the bench. And these are some cases 20-year judges,
mhm,
30-year judges, like, but they are making such egregious rulings that they are just misinterpret the laws
mhm,
just
mm,
on purpose.
yeah, 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 man. Yeah, it's interesting, man. But yeah, man, just oh shoot, my little book that I forgot my book. I have a like a little cartoon book, and it talks about basically civics, like civics 101. You know what I'm saying? Just breaking it down to the basic level. You know what I'm saying? And people need to, yeah, man, just understand that just because that there's a black person with a huge following, got a lot of money, you know what I'm saying? And they're a black face on TV, that pay attention to what it is that they're saying and
Mhm.
whether what they're saying is going to benefit you.
Yeah.
Anything Charlemagne's saying ain't going to benefit you at all.
Mm-mm.
It is not. It is not. It just simply is not. It's causing chaos, causing apathy, and
Mhm.
they'll be all right. I did like like you're saying, Cornell West will be all right. Charlemagne will be all right. All these folks will be all right. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, heck, Tiffany Cross got fired from her job, and she got a podcast now with Angela Rye and Andrew Gill. That just hit
Mm,
number 2 after a week. These
mm.
folks will be all right, man. Although I like Tiffany Cross, she try to keep it, she try to keep it a buck, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Angela Rye, she be on the fence too much because
Mm.
she's just trying to be in these spaces. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
she's just
trying to be
happy to be in the space.
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly, yeah, exactly. I don't. She lost her fire somewhere. Um, yeah,
Hey, man, that's what happens when you rub these shoulders with these elites,
when
man.
there's that man, there's a great man. I'm reading a book. Well, in this book right here called "The Myth of Black Capitalism," that's what it talks about.
Mhm,
These you get these black elites. They're like, "Oh man, we're gonna do all this stuff for black people, man. It's gonna be great." And then once they get into these rooms,
mhm,
once Booker T. Washington, once he's getting money from
mhm,
Andrew Carnegie, oh, it changes now.
mhm,
Change like, oh, you know, the message starts to change, you know what I'm saying? And
mhm.
who you're messaging to starts to change. Oh, well, hey, we just need to message to us. That's what we need to do. That's what Booker T. Washington eventually,
Yeah.
he just wants to talk to black elites. You know.
Oh, y'all just complain about anything.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. And that's what it comes to, right? Eventually, you know what I'm saying? But there's Booker T is critiquing the thousandaires, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like the reason y'all don't have is because you don't want, right? And we hear this critique
Oh,
all
lazy noob.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah, hey, man, that's eventually what happens,
Yeah,
man.
man.
That's what
Yeah,
happens,
look,
man.
this what go down, bro, and, like,
Yeah,
people trying to pretend that 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 in our history, you can't look and see the patterns
right. Mhm,
that literally were are remnants of these kind of things that
mhm,
happen throughout our society. And it's
mhm,
like, yeah, you pick that up from something that happened in
right.
America instead of you being wise enough to like, yeah, is it some things that I like about Booker T. Washington? Yeah, of course. But do I understand that he may have been shucking and jiving some
A little
places?
bit, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, man. Yeah.
yeah. Calls out.
This what goes down.
What goes down, man? The boys had the same critique, man, and
Yeah,
at one point, he out there shucking and jiving, you know what I mean? And he
yeah.
realized like, "Oh, man, I can't do this no more."
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, look, I don't look, man, I didn't expect Barack Obama to sit back and become the president and then throw out the RBG flag.
Yeah, yeah.
That
Oh,
ain't
there's
what I expected.
but again, Charlemagne expected that,
Yeah,
right? You know what I'm saying? Like, how many people talk about, "Oh, well, Obama ain't do nothing for black people." Again, now understand civics. What did you want him to do when he only had 6 years? He had
bro.
6 years of Republicans in the House and the Senate. Why aren't you asking, why aren't you saying, well, what did the Republicans do?
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
'Cause they don't
because
never have to do anything.
Man, they don't never have to do anything, man. They like that parent, they like a deadbeat parent, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Where the kids
yeah,
love the deadbeat parent more than they more more than they love the parent that's actually trying to do something, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Where
It
Obama executive orders only can have so much reach.
Mhm,
Right, they
mhm.
can't have the too much reach, especially when you're talking about interstates
Yeah,
that governors can block it. They're like, nah, or judges be like, yeah, nah, get that executive order out of here. A separation of power, man.
yeah,
But there was an interview where they interviewed Obama, and Obama said, "Hey, look, I couldn't do anything for Black people because if even if I did, even though I did do stuff for Black people, right? And
mhm,
one of those was the tax cuts for folks at a certain income level. But he's like, even if I could do something for Black people, yeah, governors that block it,
yeah,
governors where a majority of Black people live, blocking it.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean?
Southern states.
Yes. This goes way over Charlemagne.
Yeah.
Him and envy, because they don't know. They don't understand that.
No,
They don't
no, the
understand.
child tax credit. Man,
Yeah.
it like, man, that was under
That was under Obama, even though Biden is trying to pass the child tax credit. Obama wanted the child tax credit at the time. He could not get it done because because people didn't show up in 2010 and you allowed the Republicans to take control.
Yeah,
And you didn't show up in 2012 and you allowed the Republicans to remain in control. And
yeah,
they did nothing for 6 years.
yeah, yeah.
Nothing. The
Everything that they complained about, didn't do nothing, didn't pass the bill.
the First Step Act, that is a piece of legislation that was under Obama. The
Mhm,
funding, yeah, oh man, like
and
it's
and and
crazy.
and you just brung up something, bro.
Mm,
Like, the one of the problems is, like, when you start to hear, like, Black people complain about this, like, and they say stuff like, Barack Obama didn't do anything for Black people, and it's just like, do you realize, like, every single bill that just about that he either had an executive order or that they passed using the House and the Senate, literally, Black people were affected at a 35 to
yeah,
40 something percent clip,
yeah,
more than any other race.
right, yeah. Yeah, yeah, man. Yeah, people
I'm
I
like,
mean,
"No, you did get a bill.
like you
You
did.
got a lot of bills."
Yeah. You got a lot of stuff, man. You just don't know it because you live in a state where the governor decided to go even harder, decided to
Yep,
pass laws that negated those bills.
on the
Because guess
state
what?
level.
On a state level, because governors can, the House and the Senate on a state level can do that. The governor is the president of your state. The governor is the president of your state. The governor has a Senate and the governor has a House.
Mhm,
They pass bills.
yeah,
And that's yeah, man. And then mayors, folks out there, mayors have a city council
mhm,
or a ward,
mhm,
or they have aldermans, uh, you know, you know,
mhm,
and that group can pass bills and things that can, impact your life as well.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Primary ordinances.
Yeah,
Not
primary
not
ordinances.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Not really a bill, but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
an ordinance.
It's an ordinance. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah,
that's what they call that one thing that I was talking about with the felons. Um,
yeah,
a ordinance. But
yeah.
them ordinance, they touch you immediately. Bang.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Then they
yeah.
they, they touch you way
Soon as
fast.
you open your door, man, they come punch you in the face.
They go, yeah, yeah, yeah. We just passed the ordinance where you got to swing the door 3 times. I noticed you only swing it two. Okay, all right, that's a tax. Sorry.
Yeah, 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 and that's how it go, and, like, again, man, we back to, like, man, please understand just the basic civics
Yeah,
of start with local.
yeah.
Start start with where it can affect you the most and
Yeah,
immediately.
yeah, man. Know who your city council is. Know who your county council is if you live in the county. Know who your alderman is. Who your ward representative is. Who your mayor is.
Mhm,
And then who's in your house. Who's in your district. Who's
mhm,
in your district. Who represents your district.
mhm,
Know that. Know superintendents, school boards. know who are making a decision, know who all the making decision. No, go look on the website. Does your city have a website where you can go look at the minutes, or you can know when
Mhm,
the city council meetings are? You know what I mean?
mhm.
Some of these folks try to be slick with these city council meetings, only putting but 9 to 5s. That's the only time they do these meetings.
Yeah, yeah,
No
when
weekend.
everybody at work.
Everybody at work. No
Yeah,
weekends. Yeah,
yep,
they be
yeah,
slick.
and
Yeah.
and another thing, like, understand, like, how, even though it's not a voting body, like, how Chamber of Commerce
Yeah.
folks, like, because
Yeah.
people, like, man, if you look into your local Chamber of Commerce, you'll be surprised on a lot of bills that they have either sponsored or co-wrote
Yep.
for business purposes,
For businesses, yeah,
for
man.
commerce.
Yeah, even on a federal level too. They'll
Yeah.
help out writing some federal bills, you know what I'm saying? Um, what was I just saw something. Because we're talking about the commerce, what do we call them? God dang, I don't remember what we call them. The commerce.
uh You talking about, like, the aldermen
Yeah,
and
the
the city
commerce.
council?
Yeah, yeah. When you had like the county commerce,
Mhm,
whatever. Um, Joe Biden on record setting small business applications. A lot of
mhm.
people use these, go through their city commerce or their county commerce in order to apply.
Chamber of Commerce.
Chamber of Commerce. There we go.
Mhm,
Go through their chamber of commerce, right? In order to get a lot of these small business loans and small business applications. You know what I'm
mhm,
saying? And so Joe Biden, under his presidency and with funding, of course, this is more Kamala Harris than Joe Biden, um,
mhm,
because she had one of the first things that she did was meet was when they came into office during the first 100 days was meet with small business administration, and I think she's been meeting with them every year. So this is more
yeah.
Kamala Harris than it is Joe Biden.
Yeah,
But anyway,
yeah. That man,
yeah.
again, you're talking about something, please, people, go look it up.
Yeah,
And if a lot of this stuff got the fingerprints of Kamala Harris all over
yeah,
when it comes to the women's health care, the Child Care Act, um, the Chamber of Commerce for small business.
small
Man,
businesses,
look, she is heading a lot of different things.
student debt cancellation. That's
Student debt
yeah.
cancellation.
And right now, speaking of, you can go enroll in the Save Student Loan Repayment Plan. It's another way that the Biden administration is trying to actually finish paying off people's student balance debt.
Yeah, yeah,
So
federal
again,
government trying to
and
pay them debts off.
yeah, and guess who that affects though? Black people. But is
Yes.
Charlemagne going to talk about that?
Yeah,
No, he's not.
yeah,
He's not. You know what I'm saying? Mm. And
yeah,
so yeah, man.
yeah.
Yeah, man. You got anything else, bro?
Man, nothing much, man. Look, we just want y'all to educate yourselves, man, and be careful of the media that you consume. Um, because again, a lot of this information is to mislead you for the benefit of someone who is in a higher um bracket than you. And you got to be careful, man, because this is how they have always played this game.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That's just the facts, man. It's just, 2024, man, there's gonna be a lot of buffoonery, a lot of coonery about, politics. Who you should vote for. It's not who you should vote for. Is what you are voting for. You know what I'm saying? And it should be progress, man. It should be not just for you. It should be for your
Mhm.
children. You know what I'm saying? How moving forward. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a fan of black people being one issue voters because our lives are more than one issue. You know what I'm saying? And so we really have to be diligent and hyper focused on messaging. Don't
Yeah,
get so wrapped up in the entertainment parts of this stuff, man. It is the messaging. What are people saying? What are they telling you? You know what I'm saying? And part of that messaging is the visuals as well. You know what I mean? I seen Candace Owens and Vivek on a bus with Stephen King.
Mm,
Uh, he's a about white supremacist that served.
mhm.
He doesn't call himself one, but the way he talks,
Yeah.
yeah, if it quacks like a duck. Anyway,
Mhm.
yeah,
Mm,
you know what I'm saying. But again, the visual, right? The visuals was to show for the folks who are going to be voting, who Vivek wants, who he is attracting to
mhm,
vote for him. You know what I'm saying? This is why in his messaging, while he was talking about 9/11 conspiracies,
mhm.
he said something denigrating black folk on the stage at the same time. I can't remember what he said anyway. Um, you know, and things of that nature. So, you know, don't pay too much attention to the buffoonery. Message. It's the
Yeah.
message. Message.
Yeah, we're gonna get a lot of it, man.
Yeah, we're gonna get a lot of it, man.
Yeah.
And be here when we talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, be
Yep.
here. You know what I'm saying? When we talk about it. All right, man. All right, man. We out of here.
Thank you for listening to the Yah'm Saying podcast.
Yeah. Peace. Get up out of here.